Everyone thinks the Mafia kills you with bullets. But no one tells you how they destroy you while you're still alive. My name isn't Sarah anymore. It hasn't been for 7 years. The woman I was died in 2019, even though my heart kept beating. They gave me a new name, a new birthday, a new history. But they couldn't give me a new memory. And that's the torture they don't mention when you agree to testify. I grew up in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. If you know anything about New York, you know what that means. The neighborhoods there have invisible borders. You learn them young. You learn which streets belong to which families. You learn to recognize the men who sit outside the social clubs, drinking espresso in the middle of the day. You learn that some questions never get asked. My father wasn't a made man, but he was connected. He ran a trucking company that moved things for people who didn't ask for receipts. My mother knew, the way all the women knew, but knowing and speaking are two different things. We lived in a nice house. I went to Catholic school. On Sundays, we had dinner with my Uncle Tommy and his family. Everything looked normal. Everything was normal, until you looked closer. I met Vincent Costello when I was 23. He came into the bakery where I was working, and I knew immediately what he was. You develop an instinct for it when you grow up where I did. The way he carried himself. The way the owner's face changed when he walked in. The way everyone's voice got quieter. He was handsome in that dangerous way that smart women know to avoid. Dark hair, dark eyes, expensive watch. He smiled at me like he already knew me. Like he'd decided something about my future without asking. "What's good here?" he asked. "The sfogliatelle," I said, trying to sound professional, trying to pretend my hands weren't shaking. "I'll take 6. And your number." I should have said no. God, I should have said no. But I didn't. 3 months later, I was in love. 6 months later, I was married. A year later, I was pregnant. And 2 years later, I understood that I had walked into a prison that looked like a beautiful life. Vincent was a captain in the Lucchese family. I didn't know that when I married him. Or maybe I did know, but I convinced myself I didn't. That's what we do, isn't it? We see what we want to see until we can't anymore. Our wedding was at a country club in Long Island. 300 people. The FBI took pictures from across the street. I saw them, but I pretended I didn't. That was my first lesson in omerta, the code of silence. You see nothing. You hear nothing. You know nothing. I learned the other lessons quickly. I learned that Vincent's phone calls stopped when I entered the room. I learned that men came to our house at strange hours and spoke in the basement. I learned that we had money, lots of it, but I was never allowed to ask where it came from. I learned that some of Vincent's friends disappeared, and their names were never mentioned again. I learned that being a mafia wife means living in a beautiful cage. Our daughter, Angela, was born in 2015. She had Vincent's eyes. Everyone said so. I would hold her at night and wonder what kind of world I'd brought her into. What kind of father she had. What she would think of me when she was old enough to understand. Vincent loved her, in his way. He was gentle with her. He bought her everything. But I saw the darkness in him too. I saw it when he came home with bruised knuckles and wouldn't explain. I saw it when he screamed at someone on the phone in Italian, words I wasn't supposed to understand but did. I saw it in his eyes sometimes, a coldness that made me remember I didn't really know this man at all. The wives had their own code. We met for lunch. We went to the salon together. We shopped on 5th Avenue. And we never, ever talked about what our husbands did. Donna Russo was the wife of Vincent's boss, Carlo Russo. She took me under her wing, taught me the rules. You don't ask questions, she told me once, over Bellini's at a restaurant in Manhattan. You don't go through his phone. You don't talk to the other wives about business. You don't talk to anyone outside the family about anything. You smile, you look beautiful, you raise the children, and you forget everything else. What if I can't forget? I asked. She looked at me with something like pity. Then you pretend. I pretended for 3 years. I pretended I didn't know that Vincent was a criminal. I pretended I didn't know that the money paying for our house, our cars, Angela's private school, was soaked in blood. I pretended I was happy. But pretending has a cost. It eats at you. It fills you with a sickness that has no cure. The beginning of the end came in March 2018. Vincent came home one night, later than usual. He was quiet, too quiet. He poured himself a scotch and stood by the window, looking out at nothing. "Vincent?" I said. "What's wrong?" "Nothing." His voice was flat. Something happened. He turned to look at me, and for a moment, I saw fear in his eyes. Real fear. It terrified me because I had never seen him afraid before. "There's an investigation," he said quietly. "Federal RICO case. They've been building it for 2 years. RICO, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. Even I knew what that meant. Are you?" "I don't know yet," he said. "But it's big. They're going after everyone. Carlo, me, Tony Benedetto, Jimmy Corsini. Everyone." I felt my stomach drop. "What does that mean for us?" He looked at me for a long time. "It means you keep your mouth shut. It means you don't talk to anyone. It means if the FBI comes to the door, you say nothing. Not a single word. You understand?" I nodded, but inside, I felt something breaking. Over the next few months, the fear became a living thing in our house. Vincent was paranoid, constantly checking for bugs, changing phones, meeting people in random locations. Men started getting arrested. First Tommy Carbone, then Joey Messina. The news said they were being charged with racketeering, extortion, murder. I knew it, of course. I'd always known it, but seeing it on the news, hearing a prosecutor say it out loud, made it real in a way it hadn't been before. One night, Vincent sat me down at the kitchen table. Angela was asleep upstairs. "Sarah," he said, "I need you to listen to me very carefully. Okay, if something happens to me, if I get arrested, you don't cooperate, you don't talk to them, no matter what they offer you, no matter what they threaten. You understand?" "Vincent, no." His hand gripped mine, hard. "This is the most important thing. They're going to come after you. They're going to try to turn you against me. They're going to tell you I'm a monster. They're going to offer you deals, protection, money. But if you cooperate, if you testify, you're dead. Do you understand that? Not just me, you, Angela, everyone. You're scaring me." "Good, you should be scared. This is how it works. This is the life. Once you're in forever. There's no getting out." I looked at the man I'd married, and I didn't recognize him anymore. Or maybe I was finally seeing him clearly for the first time. "What did you do?" I whispered. His jaw tightened. "What I had to do." That's all he would say. The arrests came in August 2018. 43 people indicted. Vincent was number 6 on the list. The FBI came at dawn. I was making coffee when I heard the pounding on the door. Before I could move, they were inside. A dozen agents, guns drawn. Shouting, "Vincent Costello, FBI, get on the ground." I stood frozen in the kitchen doorway as they dragged my husband out of bed in his underwear, threw him to the floor, and handcuffed him. Angela was crying upstairs. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. An agent, a woman with short blonde hair, approached me. "Mrs. Costello? I'm Special Agent Rebecca Chen. I need you to stay calm." "Where are you taking him?" "Manhattan. He'll be arraigned this afternoon." "On what charges?" She looked at me with something like sympathy. "Your husband is being charged with racketeering, conspiracy to commit murder, extortion, loan sharking, and wire fraud. If convicted, he's looking at life in prison." The room tilted. "Can I see him?" "Not right now. But Mrs. Costello, I need you to understand something. You have options. If you know anything, if your husband told you anything, if you're willing to cooperate, we can help you." "I don't know anything," I said automatically. "I think you do, and I think you're terrified. That's okay. We can protect you. I need you to leave." She handed me a card. "When you're ready to talk, call me. Day or night." I threw the card in the trash the moment she left. But I took it out again 3 hours later. The next few weeks were hell. Vincent was denied bail. They said he was a flight risk and a danger to the community. The news called him a high-ranking mobster. They showed pictures of him in handcuffs. They interviewed prosecutors who called him a ruthless criminal, who had left a trail of violence. I couldn't leave the house without reporters shouting questions. "Mrs. Costello, did you know about your husband's activities? Are you cooperating with investigators? How do you respond to allegations that your husband ordered multiple murders?" I kept my head down. I said nothing. just like I'd been taught. But inside, I was drowning. The other wives stopped calling. Suddenly, I was toxic. Suddenly, I was the problem. Donna Russo, who had been like a mother to me, wouldn't return my messages. The women at Angela's school whispered when I dropped her off. Our bank accounts were frozen. The government seized our house, our cars, everything. I moved in with my parents. My father wouldn't look at me. He was furious that I had gotten involved with Vincent, furious that I had brought shame to the family. My mother tried to be supportive, but I could see the fear in her eyes. Vincent called me from jail once a week. The calls were recorded, so we couldn't say much. "How's Angela?" he would ask. "She's okay. She misses you. Tell her I love her." "I will. Sarah, you remember what I told you?" "I remember." "Good. My lawyer's going to take care of everything. Just stay strong. Stay strong." As if strength was enough. I started having panic attacks. I couldn't sleep. I lost 15 pounds. Every time the phone rang, I jumped. Every time someone knocked on the door, I thought it was the FBI coming to arrest me too. Agent Chen called me twice. I didn't answer. Then one night, I got a different kind of call. "Sarah?" A man's voice, one I didn't recognize. "Who is this?" "A friend. Listen carefully. We know the FBI has been talking to you. We know they gave you a card. You haven't called them. That's good. That shows respect. That shows loyalty." My blood went cold. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do. And we need you to understand something. Vincent is family. We take care of family. But people who betray family, who talk to the feds, they don't have accidents. They disappear. And sometimes their children disappear too. You understand what I'm saying?" I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. "Your daughter is very beautiful. Angela, right? 5 years old, goes to St. Catherine's school? Don't you dare. Then don't make us. Stay quiet. Don't talk to the FBI. And everything will be fine." The line went dead. I vomited in the sink. Then I locked every door, every window. I brought Angela into bed with me and held her all night, this tiny perfect thing that I had brought into a nightmare. The next morning, I called Agent Chen. We met at a Starbucks in Queens. She came alone. "Thank you for calling," she said. "I'm not here to cooperate," I said quickly. "I just need to understand my options." "Okay, what do you want to know?" "If I testify, what happens to me?" "To my daughter?" Chen leaned forward. "We put you in the witness protection program. New names, new location, new lives. Complete security. Your husband would never find you. No one would. For how long? Forever. Forever." The word hung in the air like a death sentence. "And if I don't testify? Then you're on your own. And Sarah, I'm going to be honest with you. These people don't forgive. They don't forget. You're a liability now. Whether you talk to us or not, they're going to assume you might. You're in danger either way. At least with us, you have protection. They threatened my daughter." "I know. That's why you called." I started crying then. I couldn't help it. All the fear, all the exhaustion, all the horror of the past few months came pouring out. "I can't do this," I sobbed. "I can't betray him. He's Angela's father. He's my husband. He's also a murderer," Chen said quietly. "Sarah, I've read the case file. I know what Vincent did. I know about the truck driver who refused to pay protection money and was found in the Gowanus Canal. I know about the accountant who threatened to go to the police and was shot in his own driveway. I know about the loan shark victim who was beaten so badly he lost an eye. Your husband isn't a good man who made bad choices. He's a violent criminal who chose this life. And he put you and Angela in danger by bringing you into it. I loved him. I know, but love doesn't change facts." I wiped my eyes. "What do you need from me?" She pulled out a file. "We need you to testify about the financial structure. The money laundering. Vincent was sloppy at home. He left papers, made phone calls, had meetings in your presence. You saw things. You heard things. We need you to tell us what you know. And if I do, you'll protect us?" "I promise." I looked at this stranger, this FBI agent, and I made a decision that would destroy everything I'd ever known. "Okay," I whispered. "I'll do it." The process of becoming a witness is not like the movies. It's not dramatic. It's bureaucratic and slow and soul-crushing. I spent weeks being debriefed. They asked me questions for hours every day. What did Vincent say on the phone? Who came to the house? What names did I hear? What documents did I see? Every tiny detail of my life became evidence. They moved Angela and me to a safe house in New Jersey. I had to tell my parents I was leaving, but I couldn't tell them where I was going. My mother cried. My father still wouldn't look at me. You're making a mistake, he said. These people don't forget. I know. Then why are you doing this? Because I want Angela to have a different life. He shook his head. She won't thank you for it. Maybe he was right. The trial began in March 2019. It was a media circus. 43 defendants, hundreds of charges, witness after witness. I was scheduled to testify in the third week. Vincent didn't know I was cooperating. They kept it secret as long as possible. But I knew the moment I took that stand, everything would be over. The night before my testimony, Agent Chen came to the safe house. Are you ready? She asked. No, that's normal. But Sarah, I need you to understand what's going to happen tomorrow. Vincent's lawyers are going to try to destroy you. They're going to call you a liar, a gold digger, a bad mother. They're going to try to make you break down on the stand. You have to stay strong. What if I can't? Then innocent people stay in danger. This case isn't just about Vincent. It's about dismantling an entire criminal organization. What you know, what you can testify to, it's crucial. You're doing the right thing. I wanted to believe her. The courtroom was packed. I had to walk past Vincent to get to the witness stand. He stared at me, and in his eyes, I saw something die. Not love, not even hate, just a cold, final understanding. I had broken the rule. The only rule that mattered. I was sworn in. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Janet Delgado, approached. Mrs. Costello, can you please state your relationship to the defendant? He's my husband. My voice shook. And how long have you been married? 6 years. During that time, did you have occasion to observe Mr. Costello's activities? Yes. Can you describe for the court what you observed? I took a breath, and then I told them everything. I told them about the meetings in our basement. I told them about the phone calls, the names I heard, the amounts of money I saw. I told them about the time Vincent came home with blood on his shirt and told me to burn it. I told them about the envelopes of cash, the wire transfers, the shell companies. I testified for 4 hours. Vincent's lawyer, a man named Arthur Russo, Donna's brother, cross-examined me like I was the criminal. Mrs. Costello, isn't it true that you're testifying in exchange for immunity? Yes. And isn't it true that you're facing your own legal troubles? That the government could have charged you as an accessory? I didn't know what he was doing. But you benefited from it, didn't you? You lived in $1 million house. You drove a Mercedes. You wore designer clothes. You enjoyed the lifestyle his alleged criminal activities provided. I didn't know where the money came from. Come now, Mrs. Costello. You grew up in Bensonhurst. Your father was connected. You knew exactly what kind of man Vincent Costello was when you married him, didn't you? I thought I loved him. But you don't love him now. In fact, you're here betraying him to save yourself. I'm here to protect my daughter. By destroying her father. I had no answer for that. The jury deliberated for 6 days. Vincent was found guilty on all counts. So were 38 of the other defendants. The Lucchese family was effectively dismantled. The prosecutors called it the biggest organized crime takedown in New York history. Vincent was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. I wasn't there. I was already gone. The witness protection program doesn't waste time. The day after the verdict, they moved us. New names, new documents, new lives. We ended up in a small town in the Midwest. I can't say where. That's the rule. I'll never be able to say where. They gave Angela a new birth certificate, a new school, a new history. She was 6 years old enough to remember Brooklyn, her father, her grandparents. Old enough to ask questions. Why can't we go home, Mommy? Because we have a new home now. But I want Daddy. Daddy can't be with us anymore. Why? How do you explain to a 6-year-old that her father is a murderer? That her mother testified against him? That their entire life was built on violence and lies? Because he made some bad choices, I said. And now we have to be safe. She cried for months. She still cries sometimes, 7 years later. She's 13 now. She doesn't remember as much as she used to. The memories are fading, being replaced by this new life, this new person she's becoming. But I remember everything. I work at a library now. I have a small apartment. I drive a used Honda. I don't date. I don't have friends, not real ones. I can't, because friendship requires truth, and I can't tell anyone the truth. Sometimes I see a man in an expensive suit, and my heart stops. Sometimes I hear an accent and I panic. Sometimes I wonder if they found me, if they're watching, if today is the day it all ends. The FBI checks in every few months. Any problems? Anyone suspicious? Do you feel safe? I tell them yes. I don't tell them that I haven't felt safe since the day I married Vincent Costello. I don't tell them that I wake up every night at 3 a.m. and check the locks on the doors. I don't tell them that I've taught Angela to run, to hide, to never trust anyone who asks too many questions. I don't tell them that sometimes I miss it. Not Vincent, not the fear, but the feeling of being someone. Of being Sarah Costello, with the nice house and the expensive clothes and the husband who everyone respected, even if that respect was based on fear. Now I'm no one, a ghost, a woman with a borrowed name and an invented past. Vincent writes to me sometimes. The letters get forwarded through the FBI. I don't know how he found a way to reach me. But he did. I don't read them anymore. I used to, in the beginning. They were full of rage, of betrayal, of promises about what would happen when he got out. But he's never getting out. The last letter I read, about 3 years ago, was different. It was quiet, sad. Sarah, it said, I understand why you did what you did. I understand you were protecting Angela. I even understand that you thought you were doing the right thing. But you have to understand something too. You didn't just betray me. You betrayed everyone. You broke the only rule that matters. And there are consequences for that. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. You can't hide forever. And when they find you, when they finally find you, remember that I loved you once. That has to count for something. I burned that letter, but I can't burn the words out of my memory. Angela asked me about her father for the first time in 2 years last week. Mom, was my dad a bad person? We were making dinner. Spaghetti. She was grating cheese. Why are you asking? I've been thinking about him. I can barely remember what he looked like. I know we had to leave because of him. I know he did something bad. But was he evil? Or was he just, I don't know, complicated? I put down the wooden spoon. I looked at my daughter, this beautiful, intelligent young woman who will never know where she came from, who will never meet her grandparents again, who will carry this weight forever. He loved you, I said finally. That much was real. Everything else, I don't know. Maybe people aren't just good or bad. Maybe we're all just trying to survive, and sometimes we make terrible choices. Do you regret it? What you did, every day, but you did again. It wasn't a question. Yes, I said, I'd do it again. She nodded, like she understood. Maybe she did. Maybe she's already learning the lesson I learned too late. That survival requires sacrifice. That protecting the people you love means destroying the life you knew. That there are no heroes in this story. I live quietly now. I go to work. I come home. I watch Angela grow up into someone I don't quite recognize. I wait for the knock on the door that might never come. People think witness protection is a second chance, a fresh start, but it's not. It's a different kind of prison. Instead of walls, you have secrets. Instead of guards, you have fear. Instead of a sentence with an end date, you have forever. I wasn't killed. I wasn't forgiven. I was simply erased. The woman I was, Sarah Costello from Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, wife of Vincent Costello, daughter of Frank and Maria Martinelli, she died in 2019. She was 30 years old. And sometimes, late at night, when I can't sleep and the fear feels like it's going to swallow me whole, I mourn her. I mourn the life I could have had if I'd been smarter, if I'd been stronger, if I'd said no to the handsome man in the bakery who smiled at me like he already owned me. But mostly, I mourn the version of myself that believed love could survive anything. It can't. Some things, once broken, can never be repaired. And some rules, once broken, can never be forgiven. I am alive. I am safe as I can be. Angela is growing up healthy and strong and far away from the violence that defined my youth. But I am not free. I will never be free. And that, I suppose, is my punishment for breaking the rule. Not death, not violence, but this endless, suffocating silence. This life that isn't really a life. This name that isn't really mine. The Mafia didn't kill me. They did something worse. They made me disappear. And in a way, that's a kind of death too.